Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the channel. Before I get started into my comic book news and comic book reviews, I would just like to say that any of you who haven't started watching The Boys on Amazon, do so. It is fantastic. I've just completed it, and wow, that's all I can say really without spoiling anything. It's a great watch. It's heavily references the comics, which is good fun, but still keeping it fresh. Very much enjoyed it, and I'm really hoping it gets picked up for a second season. Fantastic viewing. Right, let's get back on with the comic, shall we? I've had some good things and some bad things this week. I'm going to start with one of the newer things. First of all, I'll say this is Batman White Knight. It was released last year. 6-issue miniseries, I think it was, written and drawn by Sean Murphy, and this was fantastic. It really was. It brought a completely new perspective to the Joker and Batman dynamic, and it was incredibly well written. The art I thought was fantastic for it. It had a very kind of noir feel to it, and the way they portrayed Harley Quinn was just amazing. Again, don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't read it. It's a very, very good read. Now, following on from that, this week has seen the release of Batman Curse of the White Knight. The good things about this, it seems to be a good story. I can't say too much because it's only one issue in at the moment. The art, again, very, very similar. One drawback to the art is I'd say some panels seem a little bit rushed, and even at one point in particular, I think Batman / Bruce Wayne looks more like Wolverine than Bruce Wayne. But apart from that, looks great, reads fantastically well, and yeah, bit of a spoiler, but I'm gonna go with it. It introduces Azrael into this sort of universe, as you will, which is a character I haven't had too much history with, but I've enjoyed what I have seen and read of him, and I think it'd be interesting to see what Murphy does with the character here. The big drawback I've got of it goes into a big issue I have with both Marvel and DC, not necessarily any of the more independent people, is the first thing I noticed when I picked this up is how incredibly flimsy it is, and it is probably one of the cheapest looking comics I think I've ever held. That wouldn't be a problem for me usually. With DC, a lot of their titles at the moment, currently I think they're going to be changing that, are shipping twice monthly, so every 2 weeks. That I don't mind. You're paying £3 for each issue. It's going to be a bit shorter, it's going to be a bit cheaper. I'm fine with that. You get what you pay for, that's fine. Then you've got the majority of Marvel and some of the DC stuff have a slightly sort of thicker book, slightly better cards, slightly better paper, and less adverts, and it's £5. Now again, I don't mind paying that kind of money for a story that's good. I don't mind paying for a product that's quality. What I do take offence to is paying £5 for a product that feels this cheap. I say, story great, art fantastic. That is a premium, but you cannot charge a premium price for this kind of quality. That I do not like. But other than that, I'm happy with the first issue, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Next up, I finished Joshua Williamson's Deathbed. Again, only 6 issues. Thoroughly enjoyable. Really, really good fun with this. Ends in a way that I would be both happy if it got picked up for a sequel later this year, or if Joshua Williamson wanted to do a sequel, or if he wanted to just leave it as this 6-issue run. Either way, I'd be quite happy. It's it's a great story about I want to say a failed writer, a writer who hasn't hit her prime since she was 3, meeting this very crazy, eccentric billionaire kind of character who takes her on an amazing adventure. And a fantastic read, thoroughly enjoyable. It's probably up there with one of my favourite miniseries, I have to admit. It's really, really good fun. And like I say, if it were to be picked, if Williamson were to go on for another story arc, I'd be quite happy with that. They have left it on a note where they can do that. So I would be happy with that if they did. Now I think probably the biggest thing that's been released this year, Die. I was able to catch up with Die, which is finally, really. I don't know what more I can say about this. It's a masterpiece. It really is. And you look at the writing that Kieran Gillen has done, and it's phenomenal. He has built a world where you can tell you're only scratching the surface in each of these issues. Yet you know there is so much more detail that can be brought out of it, and I cannot wait to really go in depth into the lore of this. I really can't. In terms of the artwork, Stephanie Hans, you look at every single panel, and I would be happy to have pretty much every single panel as a large print and framed on the wall up here. Stunningly beautiful. Now at first I wasn't too sure about it. It was not really my style, but as I got into it, I really enjoyed it, and especially when they're in the world of Die, the fantasy world. Her artwork just really pops, and it's so incredibly colourful that it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And I love these characters. Kieran Gillen has written some characters, and again, even with the characters, it's similar to the lore and the backstory. With 5 issues, he's scratched the surface of these characters, and you just constantly want to know more and more and more. Yet you also want to know more about the world. Yet you also want to know more about what's happening back in reality, and I would say it's the best comic out there at the moment, without a doubt. I can't think of anything better. I'm loving Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm loving all the Marvel stuff that I'm reading. I'm enjoying the DC stuff that I'm reading. But this is a whole other level of amazing. It really is. And for anyone who hasn't started reading it, hasn't started picking up, the trade is out now for the first arc. It's only 5 issues. It's not going to take too long to go through it. I think it starts up again in September for the second arc. So you've got a month or so to try and catch up, and it's definitely worthwhile. An incredibly enjoyable, just a phenomenal read. It really is, and like I said, it looks stunning as well. So without a doubt, for anyone who hasn't started picking up, for anyone that's not too sure about it, do it. Absolutely do it. It's fantastic, it really is. So that's what I've caught up with this week. I've given the boys a bit of a backburner at the moment, just so I can catch up with the series. I've got some more comics here to read that were released this week that I didn't get around to. I'll be reading those, and there's some more coming out tomorrow. So I'll be very much looking forward to some of the stuff that's coming out tomorrow, and that you'll hear all about next week. So until then,